Hair cycling. What goes on with hair cycling and why is it important to us? People come to me with question of, Doc, I can never grow my hair more than here. Or somebody comes and say, I used to grow my hair here and now it's up to here. Or somebody comes to me with a bunch of hair in a napkin and say, Doc, look what I found. This is what I have every week in the shower. So this has to do mostly with hair recycling. The reality is that every hair that we have is constantly recycling. So hair starts with growth phase. That means from that follicle, a tiny, teeny hair starts growing and it becomes longer and thicker until it reaches to the end of that growth phase. So the good thing is, growth phase is the longest phase in human scalp. Usually 1 to 6 years, depends on your genetic. It could keep growing for 6 years. That's why we don't shed that often, or we don't shed like animals that in certain seasons they start shedding constantly. So after the growth phase comes something called catagen phase, which is an intermediate phase, and then telogen phase, which is when your hair goes to resting phase, they sleep. Basically the follicle underneath the skin falls asleep and the hair shaft falls and there is nothing to be seen for 4 to 6 weeks. And after that, that hair follicle starts growing another hair, tiny, teeny hair, and it becomes thicker and longer and longer. So that's a new anagen phase. So anagen or growth phase, catagen intermediary, and telogen phase. So catagen is not as important, so we're talking about anagen and telogen phase. So when hair is in anagen phase, you have hair, you have growing hair. When hair is in telogen hair, you don't have hair. But the good news is, they're not all deciding to go to resting phase at the same time. So we have asynchronized cycling in human scalp hair. Hair falls and hair grows, and at any point of time, 10 to 15% of your hair could be in resting phase. More than 90 at times are in growth phase. So if you have a lot of stress in your life or trauma or surgery, and right after you see a lot of hair is coming out, that's telogen phase. Or women who go through a pregnancy after delivery of a baby, they lose a lot of hair, that's telogen phase. The other thing that is important is why our hair doesn't grow more than here and somebody else grows all the way down to the waist. Because their anagen phase is either shorter or longer. So if your anagen hair is like 2 years, your hair grows 1 centimeter every month. In 2 years, you have it down to here. But if your hair grows to 5 years, your hair can grow all the way down to here. So that's the difference, and we cannot do anything about it. That's your genetic. Usually 85 to 90% of your hair is in growth phase. We're talking about the scalp hair. That means 10 to 15% of them are in resting phase and you don't see them. So now let's talk about beard to scalp hair transplant or body to scalp hair transplant. Why body to scalp hair transplant is not as good as a scalp to scalp hair transplant? Because of growth to telogen phase or anagen to telogen phase. So when you have a lot of hair that is in growth phase, you get longer and thicker hair. But you have long time of resting phase and short period of growth phase, your hair, just like body hair, grows only for a couple of centimeters and it falls out and goes to resting phase. So if you get a hair transplant from body to scalp, you have to put twice as much hair to have the same number of hair. So you have to put 200 hair, that 100 of them are having a growing hair at any time. The other problem is they don't grow to be that long, so they don't give as much volume. So that's the problem with body hair. Beard hair is better than body hair, but the scalp hair is probably the best.